Hello again. Welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. Paul Schrimpf here with Eric Sfiligoj, again in our remote locations. Hello.
Hello.
Make sure you can actually speak. That's good.
Yeah, I can speak. Woof.
That's great. So we had our company meeting last week, and boy, they're not in any hurry to get us back. I don't know to take it personally or not, but they're kind of like, yeah, you guys can stay right where we are. Just stay there until June something.
Based on my read of the situation, we're probably about another month at home. So
we try not to take it personally, but yeah, that's where we're at. So you might as well tour the rest of my house. I mean, this is actually a violation of our house rules by me being here, because this is the nothing room. Well, we call it kind of the Zen Room, so to speak, where we go but you're not allowed to do anything. Basically, you come here to listen to music, you relax. We got some chairs, don't have a lot of stuff on the wall, but the idea is, this is where everybody detoxes at the end of the day. But
they look like Christmas lights on the wall, Paul. Seriously.
Yeah, I should turn on. I could do that next time. I'll turn on 20. Yeah, we have lights all the way around the room, so it really is conducive to complete relaxation. But this isn't exactly hard duty, so it's okay.
Fair enough.
So that's where I'm at, and you're back in your usual spot, sir. Yes.
Yeah, I'm in my son's bedroom, which is hasn't changed. I know people have commented on the drapes behind me, and on occasion when my son is here, you can see some of the stuffed animals on the bed. So I try to push those out of the way when he's not with me. But so we have any real news to share with people this week?
Yeah, in fact, we do. We got the notice from Corteva, I think that many others did, that they're eliminating the mycogen name, which that alone was a shock to the system a bit, just because it's been around so long, around as long certainly as I've been in the market, and so now it's going to go to a brand called Brevant, which has been in commerce in other countries around the world, but they're trying to consolidate some brands and some names, and that's all I think well and good. But I think the most interesting part from the retailer perspective is that this brand is going to be their retail play in seed. And mycogen always was, at least in part, a play on the retail side. I mean, it's essentially that's where a lot of the seed had gone, but it sounds like it's going to be 100% retail. Especially in the Midwest, in your corn, soybean belt areas. So, I mean, that's really a huge deal. It gives retailers the inside track. And there's some references to some of the independent dealers possibly having opportunities within the retail dealerships for seed sales. So this is a pretty significant move. I personally, obviously, as we represent the retailers, anything that gets more seed options, gets more support to the retailers for their work in the world of seed is great news for our markets, and we applaud that move going forward. I think that's great.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this ultimately means for retailers, because I know we do the CropLife 100 every year, and usually the percentages move up and down with crop protection and fertilizer. But it seems for like the last, 8-10 years or so, the seed market's been pretty well stuck at that 15% mark. So it'll be interesting to see if there's more seed available to the retailers, if more of them will actually start taking advantage of that, sell more seed and maybe pump up that percentage a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, as a percentage of everything else, it's obviously going to continue to be a small segment of it. And you're right. It hasn't moved very much. It was pretty much 1% a year for several years as we did the CropLife 100 research, but it's not moved that much. So, yeah, anything that and the percentage of sales is one thing, but again, getting support for what they do sell. And getting companies directly behind the retailer instead of the multi-channel, multi-system kind of approach, I think that's good news both for the brand and for the retailer. So that's great. So I mean that was my observation this week. I know you got a couple items too, sir.
Yeah. Well, speaking of seed and seed going into the ground more specifically, We've been following some of the planting numbers that we've seen across the country as the weather has improved and warmed up a little bit in some places. And it actually kind of interesting to see where things are this year versus 2019 when it was very wet and planting was very, very late. Was ran across some numbers this morning. Looks like corn plantings nationwide are at 67% through May 8th. That's versus 28% last year. So big increase there. Soybeans not as high, 38% versus 30% from 1 year ago. But still, Paul, overall, much further along in corn and soybean plantings nationwide in 2020 than we were in 2019.
Yep. Well, it's hard to imagine anything worse than last year, but it's great to see the progress that we've made. And you see it in Twitter posts and the news items in the states and everything that we see. It's really moving apace. Haven't heard a lot about the frost damage. I know I'm talking to I've been doing some consultant calls. I mean, here in Ohio, gentleman's going to be doing some drone flying to see what kind of frost damage we had over the last couple of days, because we did have some frost, and they want to go out and take a look at that and see. I mean, especially you get south of the lake kind of protects us up here, but you get more than 10 miles out and you start seeing potential patches of frost, and so we'll see if there's any damage there, and I'm sure other areas felt the same thing. For this time of May, it's been crazy, but we'll be keeping an eye on that too.
Yeah. So other things to share, we've been following the last couple of videos. We've been talking a little bit about corn and soybean pricing. Soybeans still doing pretty well. We found out here in May, China's purchased an additional 1 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans. So there's still a lot of soybeans going back and forth between the U.S. and China. So things are looking good on the soybean side. Corn, however, because there's going to be so much corn projected to be in the marketplace come the end of 2020, corn futures are pretty low. I was checking this morning, Paul, and things were about 308 a bushel. I know based on most of the numbers I've read in the past few weeks that anything under about 380, 375 a bushel, and growers are going to have a tough time making some money on their crop this year.
Yep. Yeah, it's good. It's true. I think people are, you're at that point where, you're still better off trying to squeeze as much as you can out, get a crop out of this year. You don't want to be having nothing at the end of the year, despite the fact that it's going to feel a little thankless to sell it at a fairly low price unless something dramatic happens here. But we really don't have a choice. We're in the cycle. We got to roll. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the only other thing I was going to comment on is I know that we've been talking for the last couple of videos also about our 2020 PACE Executive Forum, and looks like based on some of the spreadsheets I was looking at from our internal folks that there's a lot of interest in this event.
There really is. We've got registrations already. Advanced registrations are starting to go. It's an end of October event. We're very aware of what's going on with COVID, and we're watching very carefully what happens in the market and what specifically in Missouri, but of course nationwide, to see to make sure that this is going to be a safe and interesting event for everyone to attend. And hopefully plans continue to move forward. But we've got some great, some terrific speakers lined up. Really the three pillars of looking at the farmers of the future, looking at the total value chain, and then looking at the consumer markets and trying to determine what trends are going to stay and what trends are likely to go to the wayside. The more we're talking about this, the more people we're talking to, the better the speaker lineup's getting. We've got some great panelists, and that stuff will be going up online in the next 3 weeks. So continue to look for that, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us directly, and we'll be happy to answer them. But PACE Executive Forum, end of October, please. I hope to see you there.
Yeah, that's about all I got, Paul.
That is all you got. Well, blue skies, sun. Tomorrow's supposed to be 65 here in Cleveland, so we're really excited about maybe finally entering spring after 2 months of spring, maybe. Or maybe we'll get there by summer. I don't know. But it looks nice now.
Yep.
Thank goodness. Okay, well, that's it for this edition of CropLife Retail Week. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next week.
If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below.
Your feedback is important to us. We'll try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.